I know that Florida lost at home to Auburn, and it's a real thing that happened. So you can't strike it from the record. But if you did, I think Florida's looked like the best team in college basketball for about 2 months. And I think there are a bunch of results that suggest that.
College basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
How much do you think tanking is hurting the NBA right now, too, and what we're seeing, like we saw with that Jazz and Orlando game a week ago? How much do you think that's hurting the game?
I can't wait until professional sports in the United States adopts a European model, especially like a Premier League model, and they start doing relegation. The day you start doing relegation, everything changes. Everything will change.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio, only on SportsGrid.
Michigan at a 57% chance right now, followed by Arizona, Duke, and Houston. Here's the interesting caveat, Joe, for Michigan, who's the favorite right now. On February the 8th at 5 a.m., they were trading at 40%. Today, 57%. People like themselves some Michigan here.
Well, Donnie, exactly, because Michigan, it just vaulted themselves to number one in the AP poll.
Prediction Markets Edge, only on SportsGrid.
Hour number 2 on a Friday, getting you ready for the weekend. It's what we do best on the early line. It's Sonny Right Side, it's Joe Ranier. We're always here for you, and that's what we are. For the people, as we like to say. The topics get hotter in hour number 2. And also, I lost my NBA game last night, up double digits to break, getting points. That's okay, because Joe saved the day with a clean knockout punch on Michigan State. Today on a Friday, it's payday. We hope to go 2-0. At the end of this hour, Bye comes directly to you, and we're hoping to go 2-0 tonight. But good topics here in hour number 2, Joe. The energy, as always, is high.
It's ready to go here, Donnie, as we get ready to close out February, because a lot going on here. College basketball, the final week here, a final couple of games before we get conference tournaments. And don't look now, but the World Baseball Classic is just around the corner.
It's good stuff here. So many good topics to move on to. Love Major League Baseball season. The NBA playoffs will start to heat up. And, of course, as Joe pointed out, March Madness on the horizon. Next week, some early conferences will start their tournaments. The following week there, you're going to get that afternoon basketball. It's almost like that taste of, we get 12 o'clock games, 1 o'clock games, 2 o'clock games, big-time conferences, big-time games, and a lot on the line for seeding. And then Selection Sunday and March Madness after that, Joe. We got some hot topics to get to here, but let's start with this one from the New York Times, also from The Athletic. Italian golfer Andrea Povan suffered serious injuries after falling down an elevator shaft in a freak accident before the South African Open. You know what it is? And you see this, like, how does that happen? Trust me. We are in technology age. You're spaced out for a moment. You've been on 1,000 elevators before. That door opens, Joe, and you just walk in sometimes not thinking or paying attention. That is a nightmare here. Falling down an elevator shaft because the actual elevator wasn't there. Good grief.
Yeah, there's usually safeguards in place there, Donnie, isn't there? Where, like, the door usually doesn't open unless there's an actual elevator there for you. But, yeah, no, next thing you know, you're on your phone, you're not paying attention, that first step, and you're like, at what point did it hit them like, oh, boy, there's no elevator here. There's just no elevator here. Unbelievable.
By the way, I am afraid of heights here, right? I can go on roller coasters, like the controlled environment. I can go on a plane and look out the window. I don't have any problem with that. You get me to like the second floor of a mall, I can't look over the side. And even if you go down to Atlantic City, the Revel Casino, which is now is it the Revel still? What am I saying? What am I getting a brain for? Ocean Resort Casino down there, Joe.
Yes.
They have elevators or escalators that go up like 5 or 6 stories. I can't go up them here. Just saying, like, why would you talk about this? Well, understand this. One of my worst fears, Joe, is going on an elevator and it getting stuck in there. Number one, being claustrophobic. And you ever have to see, like, how they get them out, Joe? They rappel down the elevator shaft and bring you up like 5 or 6 stories. Get out of here. That's nightmare fuel, man. I'm not doing that.
Yeah, you're not doing well. The good news is that you probably would have been passed out by the time they came and got you anyway and hooked you up to the harness. So, but yeah, no, I feel you, man. There are some places and situations I'd rather not find myself in, and I got to think that's one of them right there.
By the way, one of my wife's favorite things that we ever did is we went on a Vegas vacation about 10 years ago. So, we're going to go to all these really cool places. But one of those was we walked over to the Paris casino. And, they have a mini Eiffel Tower, which is pretty high, where you can pay like $25 and go up top and take a look around. The wife's like, you're not going to like this. Like, come on, man, it can't be that bad. Joe, I got on the elevator and I had to turn around when it went up so I couldn't look out. We were the only 2 people on the elevator. We got to the top and the people were as nice as can be. The doors open, like, okay, go. You can have all the time you want to walk around. Joe, I stayed in the elevator with my back turned. And the lady goes to you, you paid to come up here. You don't want to walk around. I said, trust me, I don't want to. So my wife goes out for like 30 seconds just to look around and comes back in. And the lady goes, we'll stay up here as long as you want. Just get used to it. I said, just take me back down. Joe, I went up, didn't turn around from the elevator, and went straight back down. There you go. It's a good story.
That's it. That's a man who knows his limitations, Donnie, and that is what it is all about, my friend. That is what it is all about. Takes you a while to get to that point, but yes, kudos to you.
Like, you paid $50. I don't care. I don't even want a refund. Just send me back down. It's my mistake at this point. Let's get to the early lineup here on a Friday. Chris Bosh wound up on the floor, Joe, bloody. Not sure what happened to this, but that's scary times. For a guy with blood clot issues, can only imagine what this last episode was. Good to see he's in good spirits and recovering here, and maybe down the line we'll hear what happened, but a scary thing for one of the better guys in the NBA here, and also a champion, Joe.
Yeah, I mean, only 41, Donnie, and I mean, he was without a doubt the unsung hero, the heart and soul of that whole era with LeBron and D Wade here in Miami, and the blood clots came in, and we're talking dangerous stuff, but he's only 41, and the fear was this was something he was going to have to deal with his whole life, and it looks like he's going to have to keep dealing with it, but scary stuff. Wish him nothing but a speedy recovery here.
My goodness, here. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, speedy recovery, missed 9 games. He's back for OKC, back in contention for the MVP, and back on the NBA champions, looking to repeat this year. He's back, people.
Yeah, he's back. We'll see how long he's back for, though, because a lot of games in the month of March here. Is he going to miss any of them, Donnie? Is he going to be playing back-to-backs? That remains to be seen. And can he stay healthy enough to remain on the court here?
Anthony Richardson Sr., drafted out of Florida. We knew he was, I don't want to say rusty, but needed some of his techniques refined here. But the athlete in him, unbelievable 10 out of 10. And it's gotten so bad where he was tapping out during games, injured every single game. And apparently he's not going to be their future quarterback because they want to re-sign Daniel Jones despite being injured to a multi-year deal. So they probably exhausted all their options. And their last option is, look, before we cut you, see if you can work out a deal with another organization.
That's crazy. I mean, what is it? He was number 4 overall in 2023, and boy, you didn't even, less than 3 years after that, Donnie? I mean, that's just absolute. You want to talk about swinging and missing. Boy, that is exactly what the Colts did, but I still think that GM is safe, though, isn't he? Even though that he blew one of the biggest draft picks of them all. Unreal.
And also gave up a lot of draft picks for Sauce Gardner, who immediately got hurt once he came to the Colts here. Not looking good for the Colts at this point right now, but maybe the Colts are in a better shape than the New York Jets, who their coach is supposed to be scouting talent, but caught live on TV sleeping while he's supposed to scout those talent. And maybe he was sleeping on Jermaine Johnson, and Jermaine Johnson got traded out of town here. All right, look, God love you, Joe, being a Jets fan. I don't know how you do it.
I don't know how I do it either, but it makes it very... it makes it a whole lot of fun here when you see the Jets just basically swapping one good young defensive player for another. And for what reason, I have no idea. But, yeah, all right. I mean, listen, Sweat is a defensive lineman. Jermaine Johnson was more of a linebacker, edge guy. But, okay, if that's what you think you need, it's certainly not going to move the needle for me, Donnie. I'll tell you that.
That's That's why a lot of the young kids in the tri-state area scream they hate the Jets and all that good stuff here. It's a shame. It really is. Con Knipple, not a shame for him. There you go. I mean, come on, man. Get that kid a lifetime deal somehow with that. He should. Hopefully he reached out and made the appropriate trademarks for that. This is why I don't like the Jets. Fantastic stuff here. Con Knipple, 3-point record. It's his. Only needed 59 games to do it, Joe. Man's on fire.
Oh, the kid can absolutely flat out shoot. We saw it in, he would have, if Cooper Flagg wasn't also at Duke last year, I mean, there would have been a lot, you would have been amazed on but he was in the shadows of Cooper Flagg last year, but not this year. I mean, my goodness. He made a immediate impact to a franchise that has struggled for how long, Donnie, and now likely going to get that whole Rookie of the Year honor, and well-deserved.
I mean, looking back at that Duke team, how did they not get a ring, man? My goodness, man. The talent on that team showing up in the NBA, it's incredible stuff here. How about the NCAA? They're in a little bit of trouble because they have no idea how to guide themselves through all of this money and NIL. Donald Trump's like, you know what? I'll step in there and let me bring my friends around. Nick Saban, Tiger Woods, Tim Tebow, Cody Campbell. By the way, who is Cody Campbell? Who is that?
I'm just curious what Tiger is bringing to the table there regarding college basketball and college football there. But listen, somebody's got to do something at this point because if we keep going down this path, it's going to be dumpster fire city across the board here, Donnie.
By the way, no doubt about it. Tiger Woods is only brought into that meeting so they can go golfing afterwards here, and away they go. FIFA World Cup charging $175 for parking and even more if you're handicapped. Come on, Joe.
Okay. Man, pays to be FIFA, doesn't it?
Woo. No comment.
I know that Florida lost at home to Auburn, and it's a real thing that happened. So you can't strike it from the record. But if you did, I think Florida's looked like the best team in college basketball for about 2 months. And I think there are a bunch of results that suggest that.
College basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
How much do you think tanking is hurting the NBA right now, too? And what we're seeing, like we saw with that Jazz and Orlando game a week ago, how much do you think that's hurting the game?
I can't wait until professional sports in the United States adopts a European model, especially like a Premier League model, and they start doing relegation. The day you start doing relegation, everything changes. Everything will change.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio, only on SportsGrid.
Michigan at a 57% chance right now, followed by Arizona, Duke, and Houston. Here's the interesting caveat, Joe, for Michigan, who's the favorite right now. On February the 8th at 5 a.m., they were trading at 40%. Today, 57%. People like themselves some Michigan here.
Well, Donnie, exactly, because Michigan, it just vaulted themselves to number one in the AP poll.
Prediction Markets Edge, only on SportsGrid.
Some things, Joe, you just should keep to yourself so you don't set off widespread panicking. And say, what could Donnie be talking about here? Well, Joe and I goes over these topics, and we love to talk about it. It's Major League Baseball. I'm going to start with Giancarlo Stanton. Like, if you said, like, hey, let me put into a printer here, make me the perfect specimen of an athlete. Giancarlo Stanton probably comes out of that 3D printer at this point. But how about this? He's been injured so much in his career, but when he's on the field, he's such a devastating hitter and so much fun to watch. Look at this latest quote here from Giancarlo Stanton. I can't open a bottle. I can't open a bag of chips, a bag of anything. That's just the way it is here. Ongoing struggles with his elbow, but he tells you he's going to play a full season. Joe, can we get a Kalsher predictive market up here that says he will not play a full season?
Well, I mean, he'll be on the team for a full season. Well, he will not actually play every game of a 162 game schedule, but he is. I think he's got 2 years left on a 13-year contract for Giancarlo Stanton there. And the fact that he's even saying, listen, the elbow's not good. I can still swing a bat and crush the ball, and have exit velocity of 120 miles per hour. But do not ask me to open a bag of Doritos because apparently he can't do that, Donnie. But he can hit, 450-foot bombs still, which ultimately is all that matters for the Yankees.
By the way, we all get caught with the trick stuff, right? Like sometimes you get a bottle of Pepsi, you try to open, like this thing just won't open here. It's kind of funny how hard it is to open when other ones open much easier. Or you do get that occasional bag of chips. It's like, what is the deal with these chips? They just won't open. Eventually, you pop the entire bag and the chips fly everywhere. I'm hoping it's that because a power hitter in the middle of your lineup that goes, I can't open a bag of potato chips, not a great sign for the season to start here for the New York Yankees, but we'll see how it plays out. Paul Skeens, on the other hand, he's opening quite fine. Everything you need to do. You want a bag of Lay's chips open? He'll do that. And also, entering spring training, coming off an impressive season last season, the youngest qualified pitcher to finish a season with a sub-2 ERA since Dwight Gooden, 85. And that was Dr. K back in the day, Dwight Gooden.
Yeah, it's impressive stuff. The kid is, he is, again, going to look great in a Yankee uniform one day here. He's got to do his time here with Pittsburgh until they can't afford him, and that day is likely coming quick. But if he can stay healthy, Donnie, I have a feeling a lot of records that are going to be broken here.
By the way, again, like a mythical creature here. Like the young kids today don't understand how good those Mets teams were in the mid-1990s or mid-1980s. They only got that one World Series in 1986, but Strawberry, Hernandez, but also Dwight Gooden. This wasn't Joe like, hey, he's coming into his own as a 30-year-old and he's dominant. Joe, this kid was a teenager and an absolute flamethrower. Every time I see like Dwight Gooden, we just don't realize how good he was. And also some of the off-the-field things got to him, came back with the Yankees here and sort of rebirth of his career. But Nets, Dwight Gooden, absolutely sensational stuff here. Well, Max Scherzer, 19 seasons now in Major League Baseball. He's coming back to the Blue Jays. Can't wait. I'm going to fade the hell out of Max Scherzer. Love him.
Every chance we get, Donnie. I'll give him kudos because we did we faded him a lot there in the World Series every time in the postseason. But listen, it's one thing. The guy is a gamer, no matter what. He will figure it out in the biggest moments. Probably a great fade on a random Tuesday in the middle of the season, but if it's in the postseason, you got to think twice about doing it. That's for sure.
By the way, a couple years ago, I think it was Joe Girardi, I want to say, when he was managing the Philadelphia Phillies, who every time they came to town, like that's when they started like, hey, you can't doctor up your hands with all this like stuff. So they would make him go through the motions and keep on checking himself. Always appreciated that. But Max Scherzer used to get so pissed when the opposing manager like, hey, check that guy's hair to see if he has anything in it here. Merrill Kelly, he's going to be sidelined with an intercostal nerve irritation, Joe. And no, we don't mean the intercostal down there in South Florida.
Yeah, another gamer, tough as nails, this guy for Arizona. He was always kind of like the go-to guy in that part of the rotation there, where if you needed to end a 3-game losing streak, you wanted Merrill Kelly on the mound. But starting to wear down a little bit. A lot of innings on that arm, boy, that's for sure.
By the way, building around a stadium here is ultra profitable here. This is why you see hey, look, I'm going to build a stadium, but I want the rights to the property around it to build it up. The Atlanta Braves saw revenue climb 11% in 2025 to $732 million. The real jump came from the Battery, where revenue surged 45% to $97.4 million. Also, Braves, reinvest it back in your team. Now, me as a Phillies fan, I don't want to see that happen. But if we're seeing all these revenues increasing, why aren't the Braves building a mega team down there?
Because they can't keep their stud pitchers healthy, Donnie. It's the weirdest thing, right? Like, what? Keep your arms healthy and you dominate. It's that simple. It's not like they didn't, and keep Acuna Jr. healthy if that's possible. But they have the pieces. They just can't keep them healthy for some reason in Atlanta.
Oh, Braves here. Hey, by the way, the WBC is coming up fast and furious. It'll be fun to watch, but also understand this. Tarek Skubal's like, you know what? I'll pitch in the early rounds. Why, Joe? Like, I'm telling you right now, Tarek Skubal pitches against Brazil and or Britain, and that's all he's going to pitch. You can get a bullpen guy just to go out there and throw a couple innings and smash those baseball teams. But the 6th, 7th, 9th, and 10th, we know who the USA is playing here, Joe.
You know, he again, why in the world did he open his mouth? All he had to do was be like, hey, man, I'm here. I want to start us off with, and you could have just dropped it at there. The whole, I'll pitch once, and then if they make it to the I'll come back for that was so unnecessary, Donnie, and so many. Nobody had to know that you were only going to pitch the first. Just go out and pitch it, and we would have, and let the chips fall where they go after that. Unreal.
You know what I would have loved him? You know what I loved him for actually say here? Like, look, I think I'm the best pitcher in Major League Baseball. I'm going to get one start. I'm going to hold out, and I might be wrong. We might not even make it, but we get to the World Baseball Classic. Hand me that baseball, and we're champions. I'm like, whoa, I like this approach. You're saying I got one start. I got the biggest start out there. Don't give me. I'm going to pitch against Brazil when you're minus 7,000 on the money line in an easy victory here. We're going to throw 4 innings and be like, I did my part here. That's all we're asking for, Joe. Big moments, big games show up here. Here are the sites for the 2026 World Baseball Classic, Joe. You got Puerto Rico, Houston, Tokyo, and Miami. It's a lot of mileage there, it seems like. Yeesh.
That is a ton of mileage here across the board. But, yeah, should be good. Listen, it was very popular when it was here in Miami a couple of years ago there, Donnie. Yeah. And I think all of those sites, by the way, good luck getting a ticket.
Good luck getting the ticket. We're going to have some fun watching it and breaking it all down. It's coming quickly, as we said there, on the 6th, Joe. That's next week. We'll get going in the WBC. Now it's time to hit Poly Market. It's time to hit Couch for the predictive markets. Wait till you see what we're going over next. Come on back.
Tanking is hurting the NBA right now too, and what we're seeing, like we saw with that Jazz and Orlando game a week ago. How much do you think that's hurting the game?
I can't wait until professional sports in the United States adopts a European model, especially like a Premier League model, and they start doing relegation. The day you start doing relegation, everything changes. Everything will change.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio, only on SportsGrid.
I actually, and I ended up adding this since our show started here, Rohit, but his points prop tonight at 20.5 is the same number from the Iowa State game. That's a bit of a mistake, right? When we consider the gap in opponents here. I think Peterson specifically steps up. He needs to. I think he kind of owes this team a great performance.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
I know that Florida lost at home to Auburn, and it's a real thing that happened. So you can't strike it from the record. But if you did, I think Florida's looked like the best team in college basketball for about 2 months. And I think there are a bunch of results that suggest that.
College basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
Predictive markets, time to talk about them and have some fun here. And we start in golf, which usually start in the NFL, start in college basketball, the NBA, but we do have the Cognizant Classic going on right now, Joe. And we were looking at this leaderboard to start. I should have said the odds leaderboard. Ooh, looks like it's going to be wide open. And maybe a name that we're not really interested in to start the tournament could do some damage. You see Austin Smotherman, 9 under par, 62 yesterday. We also had a 63 on the course yesterday by Nico Echevarria at -8 here. So if we take a look at the markets right now, trading at 7%. Echevarria trading Smotherman, 14%. Wrighton at 5%, Joe. What happened to some of the bigger names that were in this tournament? Looks like it's going to be a runaway possibly for guys. We're not used to winning tournaments. Where do we invest our money here?
Yeah, flip a coin, Donnie. Smotherman.
Yeah.
I can promise you this. Smotherman won't be there on Sunday here. Great round, but my goodness. I mean, he was making putts from all over the place here. And you had a little bit of everything. There were guys hitting shots from the inside the water. Like there were guys rolling up the pants there, taking the shoes off. I think a bird was actually hit on one shot. Like they had a little bit of craziness going on yesterday. But the wind is supposed to pick up a little bit here over the weekend, which always makes it a little bit more difficult here. So 9 under is nice, but something tells me today we might have a new leader. Guys that have the experience, like a Keith Mitchell, Taylor Moore, Daniel Berger, guys that have been here and played this course and this tournament. I kind of like those guys at really good prices right now.
But do you like Brooks Koepka here, Joe, at some really nice prices? How did he look yesterday on his rebound back to the PGA?
What is going on? You were supposed to fix the putting issues, and he didn't fix the putting issues there. So, 3 over when a guy that nobody heard of shoots 9 under. Yeah, that's not great. Not at all.
No, certainly not great. MVP we're talking about. Oh, the NBA? No. It never sleeps in the NFL. Talking about next year's MVP, the leader in the clubhouse right now. If you want to invest, it's Josh Allen at 13%. Justin Herbert, 9%. Lamar Jackson, 9%. And there's Drake May, who lost out late in the season because his coach is an idiot. He's listed at 8% here. Caleb Williams, Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, the usual suspects at the top of the list, Joe. Is it Josh Allen? Because we know a lot of things can change on a year-to-year basis. Josh Allen is really good. But would you be paying the 13% here for Josh Allen or somebody else below him?
I don't know. Call me crazy. It feels like maybe Joe Burrow is due for a bounce back situation here. There again, I'm going to say a lot of change in Buffalo, and I don't know that it's for the better. We shall see. I mean, Josh Allen is going to be Josh Allen, but at some point we're probably going to get a little fatigue here with Josh Allen. Maybe Joe Burrow, if he can stay on the field. We know he's going to put up points, and he's going to rack up a ton of stats here, provided he stays healthy enough to do so.
Is it too early to look at last year and say, you know what, one of those emerging young teams here with a quarterback that seems to get it now that he has a good head coach in Ben Johnson? We're talking about Caleb Williams here to win the MVP, trading at 7%, Joe. $100 investment pays back $1,429. Trying to go a little bit outside the box on a player that might be able to excel, but certainly Josh Allen's going to put up those numbers. Also, if Josh Allen gets a top flight wide receiver number 1, then we might be looking back in that window. But Justin Herbert getting a lot of respect. Lamar Jackson, again, usual suspects up top of that list. We'll see where it does play out. The NBA, which teams, Joe, you can wager on and invest in Polymarket on who's going to make the playoffs here. Sure, it's easy to say the Pistons, the Thunder, the Nuggets, the Knicks, and the Celtics. But if you slide down, you got some teams like the Charlotte Hornets, Joe, trading at 51% right now. Any looks, and by the way, the volume, $1.9 million in this market right now.
Yeah, no, it's good, but a lot of this it's a race to the bottom, Donnie, right? We already know all the bottom feeders are tanking for draft picks here at this point, but you do have teams like, listen, Miami has got to win some games. They're currently sitting 8th. Atlanta's not too far behind them, and then you've got the Clippers. Who also need to figure it out here, even though they rested everybody last night for some reason, as if they have a cushion there. But they have an opportunity for a play-in spot as well. That's where I would look at on the board. Which one of those teams do you think actually can put enough wins together down the stretch to make it in?
Sixers knocked off the Heat last night. I think they're going to make the playoffs. A $100 investment makes $121 back. Not a lot, but I think they're in. But also understand this. Read the fine print, people. Making the playoffs is not the play-in round. You must make the actual playoffs, those true top 8 seeds here, once the play-in round is done. So, hey, I did it, man. We're the 10th seed right now. No, you're not. You better get into the playoffs itself, or that bet is not going to cash here. We'll be right back after this short break. More hot topics rolling around. You're not going to want to miss it, man. Hot topics, that's what we do. Come on back.
Do you think tanking is hurting the NBA right now, too? And what we're seeing, like we saw with that Jazz and Orlando game a week ago, how much do you think that's hurting the game?
I can't wait until professional sports in the United States adopts a European model, especially like a Premier League model, and they start doing relegation. The day you start doing relegation, everything changes. Everything will change.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio, only on SportsGrid.
I actually, and I ended up adding this since our show started here, Rohit, but his points prop tonight at 20.5 is the same number from the Iowa State game. That's a bit of a mistake, right? When we consider the gap in opponents here. I think Peterson specifically steps up. He needs to. I think he kind of owes this team a great performance.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
I know that Florida lost at home to Auburn, and it's a real thing that happened. So you can't strike it from the record. But if you did, I think Florida's looked like the best team in college basketball for about 2 months. And I think there are a bunch of results that suggest that.
College basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
NFL offseason. Is it really an offseason at this point? Because we talk about football 365, 24/7. It's just the way the design is. They're in Indianapolis this weekend at the Combine, but hot topics are starting to come out, Joe. We talked about it a couple times already during this show. Anthony Richardson, young quarterback of the Indianapolis Colts, thought to be the future there, just can't stay on the field. And even if he's had some weird injuries, like, hey, I'm working out with a flex band and I fractured my eye socket here, he's looking for a trade. The Colts are looking to move on.
Yeah, and I mean, talk about swing and miss. I mean, it just did not work. I mean, 3 years removed? Ballard there at Indy, whose job is safe for some reason, but used the fourth pick in that draft to get a very unproven quarterback and thought he hit a home run, but now he's got Danny Dimes under center here, which actually he might have lucked into that. But the reality is, boy, oh boy, for a team that pushed all in and gave up the future draft assets and capital to get a couple of guys because they thought they were going to make a run, yeah, that didn't work out. Didn't work out with Richardson. But we've seen, just because it didn't work out in Indy doesn't mean that it could be over for him. But something tells me it's over for Trent Richardson.
Yeah, he's just going to have to go to a team that he can sit back for a year or two because he's still quite young and he's still going to have all that athletic ability just to learn the system and sort of calm down and have the game slow down for him. That's probably what's going to be best. Staying in Indianapolis, that's not what's going to be best. And it looks like the Colts have certainly moved on. Talking about moving on from superstar players possibility, that's the Philadelphia Eagles and A.J. Brown. For me as an Eagles fan, I don't think he goes anywhere because, number one, you're going to trade a high-level talent, and number two, it's going to really impact your salary cap and what you can do into the offseason. Howie Roseman's asked a lot about A.J. Brown. Here's him at the Combine talking about him as well.
I think that sometimes what's going on outside isn't the same we feel internally. And so I think like AJ is a fearless competitor who loves to play, who loves to win. And when people ask him something, he just tells them what he views as what's going on. And, he's done that before in years that we've won championships, and or gone to the Super Bowl. And so everything for him comes in terms of trying for us to get better, trying to improve, seeing things that we could improve. So someone asks him the question, and he's honest, and all of us who have relationships with AJ in the building, and all of us do have relationships with AJ, see a guy who cares about his teammates. He's a captain. He's been a captain. He's not elected by me. He's not elected by Nick. He's elected by his teammates. And that speaks to the kind of leadership that he has and the work ethic that he has.
A lot of rumors swirling in Philadelphia. He loves Vrabel. He loves the Patriots. Is always a Patriot fan. Could they make that move? But I said again, like it deals with, if you want to get first-round compensation, that's fine. But also for a team that the Eagles think they're in that window to win a Super Bowl, you trade A.J. Brown, that window is already closed. Not because, wait a second, you remove one guy, you smash the salary cap, which means A.J.'s not going to play for you, and he's going to take up $40 million in cap space. You can't do that, Joe. You just can't.
No. And that whole thing there, Donnie, felt like I'm going to throw out a whole lot of accolades and a whole lot of nice things. But you said absolutely nothing, Rose. The idea that the only thing we know is from his side, that's by design from you guys, because I don't think you have a clue as to what you want to do with him yet. I think you already would have traded him had the contract been more conducive to do so, and somebody would have come to the table. So I think it's coming to an end. I don't know how much longer Philadelphia is just going to continue to have to deal with answering questions about A.J. Brown.
Exactly. We'll see. And again, the combine's there, deals get done. The draft's coming up, deals get done. I don't think A.J. Brown's going anywhere at this point because I just don't think it makes financial sense for the Philadelphia Eagles. Even if you don't like the guy and say, well, he's better honest without us just because of the salary cap itself. There's no salary cap ramifications. He probably would be traded in the next 3 days, but it's hard to do that now. Now, let's talk about a topic that we all know and love. The NFL owners, Joe, they fought really hard. You will not release any of this information. This is ridiculous here where you have these players voting on which owners are bad in the organizations, and we get each and every one of these organizations, and we see the votes exactly, and nothing the owners can do about it, Joe. So let's start there before we actually get into the notes itself. Did the owners think that we were never going to hear about any sort of these votes going out? And it's hilarious to see that we know exactly where these votes went already. I love it.
I mean, it's like, welcome to 2026. The fact that you actually spent money on attorneys to fight this ever being released, and yet here it is being leaked and being released is hysterical to me. Like, what did you think was going to happen here? So I get why the owners don't like it. And it's usually always the same owners, Donnie, that have had a problem with this. And it's usually the ones that, well, yeah, aren't looked very favorably with the players. So, listen, is it perfect? What players who? No, but it's certainly, I think where there's smoke, there is fire. And yeah, if I'm the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Rooney family, yeah, I'm not very happy that that was released and leaked anyway.
It's designed to embarrass, and for good reason. Like, the only way you can get public pressure on your organization to embarrass them or change things up is vote that they're the worst. No one wants to sit in the room like, wow, it's voted worst owner in the league and the cheapest owner in the league. The only guy that doesn't care about that is probably Bidwell out there in Arizona. And also, I want to focus more, Joe, on the bottom three than the top three, because the top three was the Dolphins, the Vikings, and the Commanders. The bottom three is the Browns, Cardinals, and Steelers. Now, you can say, like, all right, I live in Pittsburgh. It's cold all year. The facilities stink. It's not a great place to be. Same thing with the Browns. Facilities stink. We stink in this organization. Our owner stinks. I don't really want to live in Cleveland. But the Cardinals should not be the 31st or the 32nd team ever listed there. Like, that's one of those places where it's like, hey, it's nice weather all year round. Just treat me with some respect and we'll have a great organization. It's always funny to me, but also there is no relegation. You could be a horrendous owner and just continue, Joe, to print money. It's the way it is in the NFL.
Yeah, that is, and that's kind of what we're seeing there in some of those spots. But hey, listen, if I'm a free agent, if I'm a player in the NFL, you don't think I know all about that survey? You don't think I understand? You don't think they talk on what's going out? I mean, how else are you going to force an owner or force a franchise in order to be able to be a little more conducive than by letting people know, letting it out in the public and the other players know just how awful you really are.
Focusing on the Pittsburgh Steelers here, the Ari Miroff tweet. Get a load of this here. Locker room graded an F. Players reported only has 5 bathroom stalls for the entire team. Ownership ranked last in willingness to invest in facilities here. Lowest rated home field in the league by a wide margin due to high school and college use to poor field condition. Strength coaches ranked last in the NFL. Training staff ranked first in the NFL. How's that happen? Great train. Is that, by the way, ranked first in the NFL? The training staff? That's pretty impressive then.
Well, yeah, you love your trainers, but they're given the wrong equipment. But yeah, I mean, I get it. You know what I mean? The trainers are the ones there that are looking, to have your back. But the whole best part about that entire thing was that everyone failed for the most part, except the trainers. Oh yeah, and the head coach who decided to walk away rather abruptly and said, "Yeah, I'm good to go here." How he lasted that long with those conditions is pretty laughable.
Crazy. It's absolutely crazy town here. Like the Pittsburgh Steelers supposed to be like, oh, that's an organization you can look up to. And the players be like, no, this is the worst organization in football. You should be out of here at this point. Pro Football Talk. Get a load of this tweet here, which this seems like it's more bizarro world than anything. The Browns have proposed expanding the limit for trading draft picks from 3 to 5 years, which means a stupid organization could trade 5 first-rounders for a quarterback. A vote should come as soon as March. This is also the same Browns team that gave up Earth and also the moon, the stars, and the sun to get Deshaun Watson and pay him more money than anybody else, and it wrecked their franchise. So now it feels like, yeah, let's double down on horrible decision-making. Please don't have this happen. You will bury franchises if this happens.
The Browns should never be allowed to offer up any suggestions on anything involving, well, pretty much anything. They are, until they can stop finishing in that survey, 30th and 31st, which once again they are. Yeah, no, you don't get to have input as far as what the rest of the league should be doing.
How about this quick one here? Drew Brees, Hall of Famer here. He's trying to lead a group that's going to try to buy the San Diego Padres. How about that? Hometown native, not so fast, but trying to get involved here. Maybe he's the reckoning force that can knock off the Los Angeles Dodgers. We'll be right back to more hot topics. It includes hockey. Troy Perlowitz next.
Tanking is hurting the NBA right now too, and what we're seeing, like we saw with that Jazz and Orlando game a week ago. How much do you think that's hurting the game?
I can't wait until professional sports in the United States adopts a European model, especially like a Premier League model, and they start doing relegation. The day you start doing relegation, everything changes. Everything will change.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio, only on SportsGrid.
I ended up adding this since our show started here, Rohit, but his points prop tonight at 20.5 is the same number from the Iowa State game. That's a bit of a mistake, right? When we consider the gap in opponents here. I think Peterson specifically steps up. He needs to. I think he kind of owes this team a great performance.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
I know that Florida lost at home to Auburn, and it's a real thing that happened. So you can't strike it from the record. But if you did, I think Florida's looked like the best team in college basketball for about 2 months. And I think there are a bunch of results that suggest that.
College basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
All right. Ready to go, ready to do battle, ready to talk some hockey here in post-Olympic break. Absolutely, these boys are back, and also some wild scores on a day-to-day basis. Donnie right side, Joe Raniero. Let's welcome in Troy Perlowitz here. Let's get down with some hockey talk. Troy, how are we feeling today?
I'm feeling great, guys. How are you doing?
Doing good. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. Fantastic Olympics. Team USA men's, Team USA women's both come down with gold medals here, but also there was some attrition during these Olympics here. Mikko Rantanen and also Sidney Crosby down with injuries here, Troy. What do we feel about these two players coming back to the league, and how long of those extended absences could possibly be?
Yeah, we always knew that there were some unintended consequences with the Olympic Games. As great as it was, these players' best on best tournament, everyone wants to win. Injuries are going to happen. It's the game of hockey. It's the most contact sport that we have. So, look, the injury to Sidney Crosby and the Penguins, we'll start there. That's devastating, right? He did so much for that team. That team has been probably a big surprise, especially for me. I think they were going to be in the Gavin McKenna sweepstakes coming down for the number one pick in the draft. They're a playoff team right now if the season ended today. I think that's a really bad injury. I look for them to come down a little bit. Down to the pack, because he just did so much. He made Brian Russ better. He made Rickard Rakell better. He anchored that first line. He was huge on the power play. It's really hard to lose him. So especially for 4 weeks, that's just a tough injury for the Penguins. For Mikko Rantanen and the Stars, as good as Mikko Rantanen is, and he is great, he anchors that first line too for the Dallas Stars, and he plays on the power play. They have so much depth. We've been talking about the Dallas Stars and their depth for years to come. I think they'll be okay. I think they're certainly a playoff team and then they'll make it, and he'll be back for the playoffs. I just think they have so much around him that they could recover from that injury pretty easily.
What about the trade deadline here, Troy? I mean, are there any names that are going to move the needle? Is there a Marchand trade somewhere that we don't know about? Like, who can do what to improve what here?
So I'll give you one name. First of all, the NHL trade deadline is usually one of quantity as opposed to quality. Yeah. The fact that Brad Marchand was moved last year is kind of an anomaly that doesn't happen all the time. I will say 11 of the last 13 Stanley Cup champions have made at least one move on trade deadline day. So it's not an unimportant day. It's just a day that's usually around a lot of trades. We should expect more than 20 trades as we have the last 3 years. But I don't know if you're going to get the quality of player. I will give you one name to watch. I think Jordan Binnington is a goaltender for the St. Louis Blues. The St. Louis Blues, despite a win last night against the Seattle Kraken, are kind of towards the bottom of the standings, probably looking to reboot their roster and look towards next year. If Jordan Binnington can be pried away, and I look at the Carolina Hurricanes and the Edmonton Oilers, a team that's already made a trade for a goaltender this year, but those are two teams that have Stanley Cup aspirations. They've been in the mix the last couple of years. Edmonton's been to 2 straight Stanley Cup finals. I think that's a team where goaltending is a glaring weakness. And if Jordan Binnington can be pried loose from the St. Louis Blues, that's probably the creme de la creme if we're looking at this trade deadline.
Sure, we're on a sprint to the playoffs, no doubt about it here. A lot of condensed games here, getting these games back under wraps before we make the playoffs. The Columbus Blue Jackets here, 10-0-1 in their last 11 games here. The chances of them making the playoffs this year, they're still on the outside looking in. What do you think about their prognosis here the rest of the way?
Yeah, well, I mentioned the Pittsburgh Penguins as a team that is in right now that could be falling out, and Columbus is right there. Like you said, they've been on a heater since hiring Rick Bowness. I know they lost last night in Boston against the Bruins, but that's a team we all talk. You mentioned the Olympics at the top. Everyone got introduced to Zach Werenski and how good he is. He's a great defenseman. He's a Norris Trophy candidate for sure for the Columbus Blue Jackets. He is awesome. If they get the good goaltending that they've been getting from Jet Greaves and Elvis Merzlikins, I think Columbus is in it. They're a team to me. Them and the Ottawa Senators are the two teams I think can come up in the standings when Pittsburgh drops down. I think those are the two teams you're looking at. I certainly think Columbus is here to stay. They're for real.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, who do you think we just watched the defending champs, right? Get one back last night there, Troy, against, Toronto, pack it in there. But what are we thinking? I mean, it wouldn't shock me, right, if they make a move or two as well. They've been known to do that. But are they making the playoffs? Should I even be looking at them making the playoffs?
I'm blanking on the movie quote, but Florida is the team that they do nothing and then they just bring me back in. Like they just
They just pull me back in. Yep. Yes,
So-
Scott.
so-
Yep.
Godfather line. Thank you. Should have known that. So Bill Zito has, he's a master of the trade deadline, as we just mentioned with the Brad Marchand move last year. I think he could certainly be aggressive. Florida, look, they're 10 points behind the top three in the Atlantic Division. They're 8 points back in the wild card. There's a lot of room to grow. But, I keep seeing practice video of Barkov. Maybe he comes back. We knew that they were going to start off the season slow, right? Matthew Tkachuk was out. They lost Barkov in training camp. Now all those players come back. If Seth Jones comes back too, Florida can make a move. There's just a lot for them to grow. And all those teams in the Atlantic Division, whether it's Buffalo, Boston, Detroit, Montreal, they're not coming back down. Those are good, solid teams this year with a lot of depth. So Florida, if they're going to make a move, they have to be super aggressive and try to reboot that roster because there's a lot of ground to make up for them.
Troy, let's talk about some fallout here from that gold medal game, which was so exciting here, went to overtime. But we have to remember, on the ice for Team Canada, when they lost, was Connor McDavid, Nathan McKinnon, and Cale Makar. Maybe if you had three players to pick to be on the ice at the same time, those would be the three. They lost. But Connor McDavid has been sensational in the NHL, but it just hasn't lived up to winning cups here. 6 straight 100-point seasons, 9 100-point seasons in his career, 1,182 career NHL points. Now he's catching a little bit of heat from the media. What's next for Connor McDavid in your eyes?
Yeah, the answer to that question a couple of days ago was a little hard to watch. He just seems like a really frustrated hockey player. There's really nothing for him to accomplish individually anymore, right? He's like, you just rattled off those accolades. He's incredible, right? He's gonna break a bunch of NHL records again moving forward. I think it just eats at him that those team accolades, the Stanley Cup, that just doesn't come easy to him. It's hard. And he's been great in the playoffs too. This isn't a guy who's choking under pressure. He was great in that gold medal game also. He just didn't work out for him. I think great things tend to find great players. I'm not too worried about Connor McDavid moving forward. He hasn't even turned 30 yet. He's great. He'll be great.
Yeah, man. Thank you, Troy Perlowitz, for joining us here on a Friday. For Joe and Donnie, we'll be right back after this break.
How much do you think tanking is hurting the NBA right now, too? And what we're seeing, like we saw with that Jazz and Orlando game a week ago, how much do you think that's hurting the game?
I can't wait until professional sports in the United States adopts a European model, especially like a Premier League model, and they start doing relegation. The day you start doing relegation, everything changes. Everything will change.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio, only on SportsGrid.
Well, I ended up adding this since our show started here, Rohit, but his points prop tonight at 20.5 is the same number from the Iowa State game. That's a bit of a mistake, right? When we consider the gap in opponents here. I think Peterson specifically steps up. He needs to. I think he kind of owes this team a great performance.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
I know that Florida lost at home to Auburn, and it's a real thing that happened. So you can't strike it from the record. But if you did, I think Florida's looked like the best team in college basketball for about 2 months. And I think there are a bunch of results that suggest that.
College basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
Rule changes, Joe. Sometimes you hear that and it's like, what is that actually about? Well, in Major League Baseball, the ABS rule, I absolutely love it, and I can't wait for these, umpires to be sold out all season long, and eventually we'll get to the robo-umps. But, Joe, that's not what I want to ask you this morning. I need some opinions on. How about the NCAA football panel proposing changes to next season? One of those, Joe, is the targeting rule, saying how stupid it is because and let me put this in perspective. Can you imagine an NFL game? A player getting ejected for targeting, then having to sit out the first half of the next game if it took place in the second half. Ridiculous. The NCAA looking to change that rule, which is rightfully so. If you get ejected from that game, it doesn't affect your next game here. Come on now, make it simple.
Yeah, I agree. The whole thing is ludicrous there. We just saw the University of Miami, in fact, have to deal with that in the championship game, which is absurd. It's what, listen, I missed the half of the game. It's done. I mean, that's it. But at this point, I'm glad at least some common sense, Donnie, seems to be still around when it comes to the NCAA in these spots. But yeah, but again, thinking about changing it and actually changing it, we'll see what happens here.
Now, by the way, in the NFL, they do have uniforms that must be up to code here. Like, you must be the same. You can't wear crazy shoes unless they have that, hey, it's your cleats, you're weak. And supposedly you could put whatever you want on there. But you have to wear certain socks. The NCAA is like, hey, these kids are getting NIL money now. Maybe we can sort of make an advantage here. Well, now they're trying to change this, Joe. The Rules Subcommittee proposed that players wear leg coverings from the top of their shoes to the bottom of their pants, which means everybody has to be the same. You can't just wear, one guy wears blue spandex, one guy wears orange spandex, one guy doesn't wear socks, one guy does wear socks. They're supposed to make that apparent. But, Joe, back in the day, as I like to say in the 1990s, we had to be uniform as well, but also I thought the changes would actually be made on the type of pants they can wear. Some guys are wearing biker shorts out there as opposed to a football uniform.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think there is, and again, I mean, there's always room for improvement, but it's always been we had those crazy Thursday night uniforms we had to deal with back in the day. I mean, it's anything. It's always money driven. We know that, right? So, but I think there is consensus wise. If you ask the players, I outside of the shoes, Donnie, I don't know that there's much controversy there. I think they all realize what's best and what works for them.
If your knee pads weren't at your knees, they stopped the game and made you leave the game to make that happen. Now guys are wearing biker pants. They were basically no pads, nothing anywhere near their knees, just the way it's going right now. Let's reach out to the public. It's time, Joe, for our Fade the Public poll. If you could or would attend the Hawks Magic City promotional night was the question asked. Already there. If I was allowed, never. How about never and loud? Both at 41% live right now. Already there at 17%. Magic City, baby. The strip club comes to the arena. Make it happen.
Like I said, I have never been so excited to watch a game for a promotion night like I'm going to with this Orlando and Atlanta. Can't wait to see exactly what the promotion is outside the arena. I can't wait to see what the promotion is inside the arena. I can't wait to see what they're going to do at halftime, Donnie. I think all of that is going to be... Imagine the poor person that buys tickets to a game not realizing what's going on is like, you know what? Let's go. We've always wanted to go to a Hawks game, and they're going to walk right in. I cannot wait to see how this blows up.
And by the way, ladies in the Atlanta area, if you're wondering why your boy and your friends and everybody's looking to go to this game and you're not invited, you know now. I guarantee you, it's not going to be a lot of couples there. It's going to be guys' night out at the Atlanta Hawks game. You know that here. Let's get to some of those best bets now. Cash in some tickets. Here's bye. Come on, Joe. Show us the way. Where are we going? You won last night. I expect to win tonight. Who is it?
Well, back-to-back nights, right? We talked about styles make fights, right? Well, last night, Michigan State, not a great style for Purdue. Tonight, Michigan, not a great style for Illinois. They defend the three better than anybody, and Illinois struggles against those types of defenses. Michigan, too much offense, too good a defense. They win this game, Donnie.
There you go. Michigan -1.5. Just need a bucket victory by them. For me, Joe, I'm going to glom onto your team, Miami of Ohio. Why? Because I do like them to win this basketball game. This graphic, by the way, is wrong. It's probably going to win anyway. First half, minus 6.5. Miami up double digits at the break, cruising to a victory here. Do I think they're going to win full game? Yes, I do. Do I recommend the 12.5? Yeah, why not? We'll throw that on. Maybe it's a double shot here, Joe. Miami, Ohio, first half minus 6.5. Miami, full game minus 12.5. Joe, I think that's what they call correlation in the business right now. Let's get after it, people. Joe Vanieri, Donnie right side. Thanks for tuning in this week. See you in March on Monday.